Well, good evening and welcome back to Rangers Radio. Rangers 2, PSV 2. And a tremendous game of football at Ibrox Stadium tonight. Join myself all shared back in the show is JM, Robert, and GB. Evening, Robert. What's thoughts?
Evening, Ox. Just get my breath back after watching that, mate. Great game of football to watch. Good performance. Unfortunate not to take a win away from that, but certainly a performance to be proud of, and certainly a lot of good points and confidence for next week.
Yeah, there's mistakes, but you're playing against decent players, and it was a good game. JM?
No, very, very good game to watch. As you say, you're playing against top players, so any mistakes you make may look worse than you would do in any other game, but an all-round very entertaining, good for football, and definitely shows we can compete at that level.
GB, who predicted 2 each, and he's predicted Rangers to go through next week. Oh, what a man, GB.
I know I didn't even put a bet on Oxty, so I'm absolutely gutted for that and gutted about the result. And as much as I said to Ox, I would have took a wee win gone there to PSV, but fantastic performance, Ox, and just so chuffed that we've seen a team performance tonight, mate.
Is that team arrived? Has that them arrived and they've set the standard of work, attitude, pace and quality in front of goal? Robert?
I think there's a lot of positives you can take from the team performance as well as individuals. I felt Dessers could have maybe done a wee bit more mobile in the first half, especially when we got possession in our own half and trying to counter. You could see Cantwell looking up, trying to get an out ball. Tavernier gets sucked in quite a few times, and Golson, who I thought was my man in the match tonight, he was covering Tav pretty well. So there's certainly areas to work on, but overall I think that's a performance that we can build on, and it's certainly something they could maybe see more of the style tonight that Michael Beale wants to impose, especially in a more defensive unit. I thought that was quite compact to set up.
Yeah, JM, Connor Golson, I'll criticise him. I said he wasn't fit. He's a freak of nature.
For someone who wasn't fit, that's the best. He's put in some good performance, but that might be the best performance I've ever seen him put in. That was tremendous, wasn't it? Both centre halves were amazing, but the amount of covering he had to do on that right hand side tonight, it was unbelievable. So good.
Yeah, it was a tactical. Just when we started to push Tav up, and at different times he's covered. It was a tactic, and when we were trying to push him forward, so he knows he's got to do it. And GB, I wouldn't argue with that man of the match. I thought actually the first half, Raskin might have been my best player, but of the piece, Connor Golson.
Oxy, he took some tasty challenges. He was really unlucky for PSV's equaliser. He was there, probably there just too tight to the guy to catch him. And but overall, Ox, a good solid performance for a guy that's supposedly no fit.
Did anybody else think it could have come off the young shoulder? I've only seen it back once. Was it just me?
Looks like more I know in commentary they said it looks more like the very back of him more than a shoulder, or like maybe his collarbone sort of set up. Definitely the back. Yeah, didn't get a clean. I think it actually might have nicked Suter as well on the way through, which might have took it off his head just slightly.
Yeah, we were unlucky there. 2 great goals you scored, JM and GB.
Sorry, we scored. Did you say?
Yeah, 2 great.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Two goals, both very, very different, but great goals, aren't they? One capitalising on a bit of a defensive but good pressing. We got one very similar chance to make that sort of chance in the first few minutes, didn't we, with Cantwell? But then Dessers with a good cutback. I actually think it was meant for Raskin, and it takes a little bit of a deflection. But then the finish from Seamer are unbelievable, and then unfortunately I didn't really get to celebrate the second goal because I was convinced it was going to be offside on first viewing.
But Dessers.
Yeah, I thought, especially with VAR, it looked it. I actually thought it was the wrong pass as well. It shows what I know, doesn't it? I actually thought Matondo, the legs in the space might have been the way to pass it. But once you watch it again, what a great goal that was. And fair play to Rabbi Matondo, because a lot of players, maybe after pre-season thing, I mean, it's not complete yet, but would have down tools. But that boy hasn't down tools. What a finish.
His first competitive goal for Rangers, and Dessers, who I didn't think was one of our better players tonight, but you've got to give credit with his 2 GB. He set up the 2 goals.
He is, Ox, and it's starting to show his kind of worth in the team a wee bit. I think he's still got fitness to come, Ox, or March sharpness. But it just shows you he's got that in him that he knows to when to press and stuff like that. He's really been good at that, like nick the ball off a defender or a player, and then having that good pass. I mean, let's face it, it was on the money with Matondo, and as JM says, it could have went to either Flair for the first goal. But he's there and thereabout, trying his heart out, and a lot of people said he was going to be the out and out number 9, but I think he's been brought in for these moments as well, Ox.
He is a number 9, mate. That's his role, you know, and I think he's seen the substitution. I don't think Danilo will ever be able to play as a lone striker. Just my thoughts, Robert.
No, I agree, mate. I touched on it in the pre-show that for me, Dessers as a lone striker would be ahead of the pecking order of Danilo. Just the physicality and the way we approach the game. I think if you're playing two strikers, you're maybe fine to do the two strikers with Danilo and Dessers. But certainly if it's a European game, particularly away from home, if you're playing that one lone striker, for me, Dessers would get the nod. Just his physicality. There was a couple of aerial battles that he had with their boy, was it Romano, the centre-half. He had a couple of aerial duels there, a couple of tackles. But just the hold-up play overall, I think you get that a lot more from Dessers than you would Danilo. But I do think you could have done a wee bit more in the first half, but certainly the pass for Matondo was on a plate. But I did be the same as GM, sitting watching with eager anticipation for that VAR check just to be over.
All right, we'll get these phone lines open. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
And I really appreciate you three staying up late on a school night. Right, right. Man of the match, just quickly run the panel. GB.
Goldson.
JM.
Connor Goldson.
Robert.
Full house. Goldson.
All right. Okay. All right. Big Potter, he's a freak of nature, you know. But listen, they gave us everything they had, and I think that team might arrive tonight, and they've set their own standard. Simple as that. Giant.
Yeah, I'd agree. Excuse me. And also the positives, I think, from it is I think we can be better. I'm not taking anything away from that performance tonight because the effort playing against a good team, Europe, 2 goals, everything, great goals are good. But I do think we can be better. We can actually be better, which is the most positive thing. A few times maybe in the first half, just with the ball, and I think maybe that's the atmosphere and when they're doing a lot of chasing the ball. But the more of these times these players get to play, they'll get used to that. But I think that's another positive thing. I think we can actually be a lot better.
GB.
I
totally agree, JM. I think there's bits in the squad still to knit together. But like I says, talk about like working as a team tonight and stuff like that. They all battled. I mean, Cantwell's an absolute monster tonight, just running about, just shutting everything down. Raskin as well, brilliant tonight. I tip my hat to Butland, our goalkeeper tonight. He came out, some of the crosses that were going into the box, right out, grabbing the ball. His distribution was really good tonight as well. And another guy that kind of gets a lot of knocks is John Lundstrom. I felt when he came on, he had a decent game as well. So that's it. It's really good to see the team play as a team again, and players actually showing their talents. It's nothing worse than they go into these games and they don't perform, they don't go to their best of their ability. And I think like the night they matched PSV as best they could.
Aye. Listen, Dutch teams are always comfortable on the ball. I mean, you would have possession when they got it, you get away, you have to work for 5 minutes to get it back, Robert. You know, but we showed an intensity and we had a plan and we kept the ball at times. There's times where it could have stuck up front, and I was a bit frustrated with Seema, only because the first half when they had space, I wanted him to run and be direct. He's got this pace and he's cutting back inside. Just open your legs and show your class, as Fox used to say, he's all girlfriends, yeah?
I certainly, mate. You seen it in the second half when he did get the ball and just knock it in front of himself and run at it. He's got the height. He's got the long legs to get strides in away from defenders. He's certainly got the pace, and we've seen more of it in the second half. But I agree, in the first half, he just seemed to not have that confidence to take somebody on. I think the goal probably sparked that confidence in him for the second half. But I also think it may have actually helped him not get hooked at half time, if I'm being honest, because there was a few moments where he was getting the crowd was getting behind him, groans, moans, loose passes, not chasing down, didn't want to keep a ball in play when we had a chance, rather to go for a corner. But certainly, he saw a different side to him in the second half until he came off, and I thought he had a decent performance in the goal he scored. It's an excellent finish because when you see the replay, the ball is spinning on that ground, and the way he just wraps his foot into the top corner, it's a beautiful finish.
Aye. It's that's him scored 2 goals through open play, and we're only in August. Ryan Kent get 3 last year, Giant. Just numbers, but just shows you, doesn't it?
Yeah, numbers and what I do think with Robert, what amazing goals can change matches and also players, because I think Bill might have had a decision to make at half time if that hadn't happened, because a lot of that would have been happening right in front of him as well. But no, you can't argue with the numbers. And also, like you said, in the second half, once he started to run, he was stretching him and getting him behind again. But I think maybe in the first half, he just looked like some more, was fear of doing anything wrong rather than trying to have a go. But that seemed to change after the goal, and hopefully that continues.
Yep. Right, so we've got a poll on Facebook, man of the match, Goldson, Cantwell, Raskin or Suter. I suppose you could have threw Butland in there as well for his composure, even though he didn't make great saves, except that point that he came and took the ball, and something we've not had for a long time, GB, yeah? A goal that comes, takes the pressure off when it's in the air at set pieces.
Really organised them the night as well. Oxford, see, when he was getting the ball and stuff like that, he was telling the team in front of him what was happening, just to calm down and take a breath and stuff like that. And like I say, his distribution as well. It's great to have a keeper that can actually kick the ball to a player rather than kick it into Rose's head. So Butland is certainly settling into that number 1 slot, no problem. And again, a great night for him, Ox, another Champions League night. And let's face it, a lot of the players in that team tonight, Ox, are novices to the Champions League kind of football, and they stepped up to the plate tonight.
Aye, I couldn't agree more.
How you doing, mate? All right.
I think we've been joined by Ian. Evening, Ian.
How you doing, pal? Okay.
Okay, mate. What's on your mind?
It's just a reaction to tonight's game. I thought 2-2 we done well, because for times in the game I thought we were chasing our tail, and it's back to the old chestnut again. When is Tavernier going to learn to defend? He's awful, mate. He's really frustrating the life out of me. The guy can't defend. He can't captain the side. And maybe I'm critical, but
tonight,
he was awful, mate. In the first half, McCoy's made a comment on the match there about Tavernier. He's always caught out of position.
He caught the wrong side for his booking, but in the first half, I thought he done okay with the rest of the team defensively. Giant.
No, he's just. I maybe need to watch it with the non-Tavernier glasses, but he's doing things here, mate, that a good left winger. Their left winger kept hugging the touchline. Tavernier gets drawn into the middle, and he's nearly on Suter and Golson's.
That's what the manager's telling the 2 fullbacks today.
The manager's got to get it changed, then, because we're going to get skinned. We're going to get caught out constantly from that left-hand side. Tavernier at the fullback. I think he's awful, mate. Genuinely, I think he's a poor captain, and he's I don't think we had any failures in a Giant. Yeah, maybe I'm a wee bit critical, but
I think in the first half maybe he got caught out quite a bit, didn't he? A little bit, but I wasn't too sure if it was maybe, if you like, maybe only 10-20% was actually down to him, because I think Big Jose, I thought, I haven't really mentioned him a lot, and maybe that's good for a bit. I thought Big Jose maybe got a bit of the run around tonight in the middle, and I think Tavernier was maybe trying to was caught in between trying to cover that sort of their left side centre midfielder, getting dragged in, and also with how quick they were moving it was catching Tav out. But
yeah, they were good.
I mean, you got to remember that was good. I do agree. He got done. Obviously, he got caught on the inside when he got booked, didn't he? And then, but I think looking at it live, I noticed Tav was getting caught out, but I thought a lot of the time it was from a player or two in front of him, maybe not covering the midfielders, and Tav's caught between a rock and a hard place. Maybe that's where if he's thinking defensively, he needs to be a bit more defensive and just stay and not get attracted to the ball.
So what was the positives? What was the positives tonight then?
Oh, my main positive, mate, I think, is John Suter. When we signed him from Hearts, he was injured virtually where he was injured when they signed him, and we never get him. But I think the guy will be a star. Him and Goldston, if they can stay fit. I can know the issues with that. The two fullbacks, wee bit iffy. The big lad that scored the goal, I think that took a lot of his work. Maybe I'm too critical, mate. It must be my old age.
No.
But you know, I think the money we've spent on strikers. Have we got 3 or 4 class strikers up front? I don't think so.
You've got to put it into context. The money we're spending compared to what other teams are spending.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I would have still. About 5 years ago, when Lawrence Shanklin was at United, when we were struggling, we could have gone for 100 grand. Now it's silly money for Hearts. Hearts, I don't think we'd sell him to us. Whether we put a bid in for him or no, I wouldn't know. But I think, honestly, up front, we've got strikers there that are going to get us 15, 20 goals each a season.
Well, we'll see. Their goals are starting to mount up. GB, in you come.
Ian, mate, you're talking about you're talking about Lawrence Shanklin, right? And now you're complaining about our current strikers. Lawrence Shanklin is nowhere near Champions League level, mate. I'm sorry to say, right?
Yeah.
He may be scoring goals in our league, but mate, in my opinion, like if you're saying that we should have went for Shanklin, or guys that have played at the top level, like say Feyenoord and Europa Leagues and all the rest of it, mate, then I think I've been a wee bit critical, mate. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I can live with that.
Anyway, stick to the next match. Robert, we don't disagree. Shooter and goals, you know.
Mate, they're kind of forming up a great partnership there, and we've spoke obviously quite a bit about Shooter playing on the left side. Again, he does look a lot comfortable on that, so it's certainly good to move forward.
I just think that he looks comfortable on the ball when he's moving forward. Goldston, you know what you're getting with Goldston. He's a big. He's been a rock for the last 2 or 3 years. But Shooter looks as well as defending well. He's a good footballing centre back.
What about the ball? With the outside his boot, Robert? In the second half.
At first, I had to kind of blink twice and see if I actually executed it. It was pinpoint. It was spot on. And unfortunately, I just couldn't really get onto it properly. But it was. I get Ian's point there. Shooter's definitely a more ball-playing defender, bringing it out into the midfield and striding forward. But Goldston is capable of doing that as well. He obviously loves a diagonal ball. But they've got a kind of good balance there. I get that it's not a natural left footer, but it's a good balance and they're striking a good partnership. And the last thing we want to do is change it all the time that we did previously.
What does the lads think we'll go on next week? Just to finish off, how do you think we'll do next Wednesday?
Oh, mate, let's just hope that history repeats itself. We went 10-0 3 times in the past and we've won all 3. So let's hope the history repeats itself, Stuart, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, good luck to the lads in Holland.
Cheers, Ian. Nice to speak to you, mate.
It's good to talk to you as well. Sorry for I've been a wee bit critical. It's just
your opinion, mate. You're entitled to your opinion.
I just sometimes get very frustrated with him.
Evening, Stuart.
All right, how you doing, lad?
What's on your mind, mate?
Evening, Stuart.
Oh, the 2 of them have disappeared. Right, they'll bring them back, they'll sort them out. Aye, listen, people are entitled to their opinion, but listen, I thought Tav in the first half when he got booked, he did get caught there inside him, but Anyway, we enjoyed the Stuart. No evening, Stuart.
All right, lads, how are you?
What's on your mind, mate?
Oh, get it game of night. I'm quite
Smashing
happy.
game of football. Smashing game of football, wasn't it?
Oh, I was one of the best teams I've seen in a long time. And as I said to you a couple of weeks ago, the American businessman's in. Tell you.
Well, things are moving, mate. Things are moving. I don't think it's the end after part near on, you know.
Absolutely. Brilliant tonight. Absolutely. I can't fault anybody. Maybe Tavernier a wee bit, but he came back and proved his point. And I think Shirley was brilliant, but I think Golston was man of the match.
He's got the man of the match shown here. We've had a poll. He's got 46%, and second is Todd Cantwell with 39%. You know. But listen, it was a great game of football, and I suppose if you were a neutral, 2 each might have been a fair result.
Oh, aye, definitely. I was quite disappointed they didn't score near the end but I think it's going to be some game over there.
Aye. We'll get chances over there, and I think they'll make chances, Stuart.
Aye. Oh, aye, definitely.
You know. So, who else, Sean, for you, mate? Who else? You mentioned the centre backs. What about the midfield and the forwards? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking your man Ryan Jack as well. He was brilliant even when he came off. Even when he came off.
Listen, everybody worked hard tonight. JM?
Yeah, I thought Jack done well, commanded that midfield. I thought maybe the strongest out of the three midfielders. Jack was good with it, tried to keep the ball. Didn't obviously get a lot of chances to keep holding the ball, but no, ran around and done his job, didn't he? But I think the sub was the right time, wasn't it? He'd absolutely ran his race.
Oh, aye, definitely.
Yeah, but no, he done well, Jack.
Is that this team arrived? Is that them started? Is that the standard set, Stuart?
I would say, I was on a couple of weeks ago, I did say to you, watch your space, I did say to you, definitely.
Robert?
I think we're always going to say they have certainly arrived after a performance like that tonight, but the important thing is now that we keep that standard and we look forward to the next game. We take that in, we take the confidence, we take the positives from it, and we identify the errors and fix that, obviously, for the weekend and next week in Eindhoven. But again, it's certainly a lot of positives that we can look at and say that the team certainly have arrived. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and let's just take one game at a time as well. But it's a great performance to certainly build on.
Definitely, I totally agree.
2 good goals you scored tonight, Stuart.
Aye, first one was a cracker. Oh, top draw.
Was the second one better?
Aye.
The move?
Aye, definitely. The second one was better. If he scored the other one, that was even topped it up.
Aye, the one that just went over the bar. Aye.
Aye. I think my false teeth would have fell in.
If I'd have been in, if I was Matondo, I'd have just walked up the tunnel, GB. Put my arm up and just walked up the tunnel.
And he would have had that man in the match under his arm at the same time. Ox, I tell you something that let's say I'll give the boy credit where it's due. He's came off that bench constantly and he's making an impact and I think Michael Beale's using him the right way. They've got a kind of good wee tactic going with Matondo, and I tell you tonight, see the amount of tracking back he was doing as well. Ox, really surprised to see that, and we might be onto something there. There might be a future for Rabi. Just needs to keep up their performances because I tell you something, that was a fantastic finish of the night.
Oh, aye, definitely.
Aye, just he put it in the net, Robert, before you time to worry. It was Matondo.
Do you know, the finish itself, as GB said, the finish is excellent for a guy who has had his confidence knocked. And Beale's obviously come out and said that he struggled with a bit of confidence at the end of last season. To go away and work on the training pitch and to take a finish like that in a Champions League game, it's first class. And the whole move was brilliant. The ball from Dessers and the first time finish, it's an exquisite goal. And he's certainly something. He's lit it up again tonight. He came on against Livingston in the league not so long ago. Had an impact on there. He's come off the bench tonight. Had an impact on there. he might be just chapping at that door for a start next week. And he might be that wide player that we have on the left to certainly give us that width. But certainly a good signs from Rabi. Is he maybe our new fashion Sakara, the unsung hero?
Only time will tell, obviously, playing that side of the pitch. But Fox is asking the question to ask his GM who thought he made the right pass initially. I didn't. I was that annoyed. I thought it was going to be chopped off for offside, so I never thought about the ball through to the straight ball through to Matondo. But I think that's an easy pass when you're watching the game in the telly.
Yeah, it's one of them. If you're playing the Xbox or that, or there's the through ball, you don't know what Cantwell's seen. He might be looking to Dessa's first and not quite catching Matondo. There's a lot of things, isn't there? At the time, I remember, and then also it just looked like, I mean, he's not got the smallest of back size Dessa's either, has he? I was just worried he didn't quite get back on time with that VAR line, but we didn't actually get to see the lines, did we, on the telly? It just sort of showed the replay, didn't it? But it looked very, very tight. But the pass from Dessa's was, I mean, the weight on that pass was unbelievable, wasn't it? Can I just ask something on Cantwell? I don't know if it was going to be being brought up, but could we be having a different conversation about Todd Cantwell with a little bit of lack of discipline twice?
Oh, it was a stupid challenge, mate. And then the first booking, putting yourself under pressure for pulling somebody's jersey, mate. Yeah,
just a bit worrying, wasn't it? Because I did think he was a goner.
Yeah. By the way, the referee gave everybody warnings. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, he tried his best, didn't he? Then I think he lost it near the end.
Aye. It could have been. I would say if that was a Scottish game, that the referee would have second yellow look before Todd Cantwell got up.
Yeah, because he didn't make loads of contact with the bloke, but just a style of tackle, wasn't it? Because he's running.
Don't go down. Don't slide.
Yeah.
No 80 yards for your own goal. You know, already had a booking, yeah.
No, I did think that was an example of what we spoke about maybe the atmosphere and that getting involved in it. That was a bit silly from him. I thought, not to take away from it, but we could have been, with the time of the game as well, that would have gave him a good 10-15 minutes of the extra time against 10 men, and we might have not been quite as cheery as we were.
Yep, GP.
Aye, no, I do agree. It's a hard one. He's got to be one of the players that, yeah, if you try and curtail that it might affect his all-round performance. You know what I mean? Because with the kind of rash moments he has, then you have the moments of brilliance where he gets the ball out to Dessers. You know what I mean? And then there's a goal created out of it. You know what I mean? There's umpteen chances he's created tonight as well. He's tracking back and let's face it, when he got that yellow card, he did stay on the pitch. He managed the game as much as, like he says, the referee had a talking to him and stuff like that. I think all the boys that got yellow cards tonight managed their yellow cards pretty well for to be on the pitch for the length of time they were. But Cantwell's got that wee bit of fire in him, and like you say, Ox, it's just in our league you've just got to watch what you're doing, because if you're a guy that shows off, you're a target man, aren't you?
You've just got to be sensible. He's got to pick his moments and realise where he is in the game. Robert,
I'll be honest, mate. I fully expected the referee to send him off after that tackle. Given the fact it's a Champions League game, I thought it would have been a bit more scrutinised for that kind of foul. I certainly think he's let my way with one there. In the first booking, he doesn't even need to make it. The guy is running through okay, but he's facing 4 defenders. It's a cynical tackle to make, but it's one that he doesn't need to, and it certainly puts him on a tightrope, especially making that tackle. The only yellow card I'd maybe debate was Souters. I didn't really see a lot in that. It was just 2 guys going for a ball.
I don't even know if that was a foul. Never mind a booking.
No, he's 2 guys went for a ball and Souters out jumped him. So, and I think De Jong's obviously conned the referee a bit there, but certainly Cantwell's got that fire, and we have seen it at the end of last season. He's got a kind of bit of grit and fight about him, which is good to have, but he needs to kind of just tread careful. I've mentioned it before about knowing the game and how to play it, especially the Scottish referees, the way you deal with them. He's certainly given them some options at times to bring that card out, and that's a very fine tight rope to walk, especially in a European competition when it could be important in the next game.
Aye. He's a good player for us. He works hard. He's intelligent. He makes things happen. You know, him and Raskin. You can tell that they got on well on and off the park. I thought his stealing of the ball was excellent, particularly in the first half. He just has to get his feet up a wee bit, and as he becomes more experienced, his distribution will improve.
Yeah, sorry, moving on to Raskin there, yeah. Hello?
Yeah, moving on to Raskin.
Yeah, moving on. Yeah. I thought again especially in the second half, like last week, his energy starts to shine through, doesn't it? And he does start nicking and run. There was one in the second half where he must have chased the guy back 60, 70 yards, made up some good ground. And you're right, once he gets a bit more experience, and I think it's calmer, isn't it? Just a bit calmer once you've nicked the ball. There was a few times early on, maybe a bit of miscommunication between him and Seema. They both nicked it once or twice, and they both had options with each other, but they just got caught with it. Maybe it's just that next phase, but no, I think Raskin, as he gets more and more comfortable at that level, he's going to be just as composed and just as good for us as Campbell.
Yeah, enjoyed him. Right? Particularly in the first half, you know. He plays for the team, he works hard, you know, and he's good at reading the game in the middle of the park, Giant.
Yeah, he cuts weight. You can see he senses danger, doesn't he? He knows where to go. It's in between. He knows just where to sit deep, and that pace is handy, isn't it? There was no one skipping past him as such, so he's got that little turn of pace, and he knows how to get his body in, and he's not scared either. There was one in the first half, quite early on, maybe a quarter of an hour, but there was a bouncing ball from a Rangers corner. The big centre forward was running out of him, and Raskin went and just won the header. It was a good win.
Yes, he works hard. Usually you've got it. And big positive night for the manager. You know, we competed. We didn't get the victory. We're still in the tie. We'll see how it goes next week. But the ball shoots are starting to slowly grow. GB.
Ox, I think, like I says, it was always going to take a bit of time. I think we just expected, because the calibre of player that we were bringing in, we thought we were just going to turn up and they would just be clicking and banging the goals in and stuff like that. But the night you seen them understanding what the manager wanted on the park. I mean, you could see. I think that's what we said in the pre-match, that we were looking for a performance off them, and that was minimum. And they gave that. They showed what kind of tactics the manager was wanting. I thought the manager as well made the substitutions at the right time. I think even Seema was a bit disappointed getting taken off. I mean, because he was starting to come into the game. But again, the manager made the substitutions. He wasn't hanging about with them, and he gave us that bit of energy near the end that we could have probably snatched the win, Ox.
We were close, Robert, to snatch the win, you know, and it's all about next week now, and obviously we've got a league game. That becomes important because we need the 3 points, and in between these cup ties, I think it's just we keep the momentum going, we get behind the side or the support, and we'll go there and get a victory, and then we'll see how it goes next week, Robert.
Exactly, mate. That's the thing that you take away from tonight as well. You take the performance, you take the result, but most importantly, you take the momentum and you take the positives and the benefits, and you take it into the league. It'll be interesting to see at the weekend the changes. I'm sure you'll discuss that later in the week on the show. But if there's any changes, or if he kind of sticks with it, we obviously spoke about the changes at the weekend against Morton. So it'll be interesting to see how he does set up that kind of style and formation against Ross County away, which is a tough place to go. Let's not kid ourselves on it. So it'll make it hard for us. But certainly after tonight's performance, we're more than capable of getting the 3 points and then look forward to a big game Wednesday.
Aye, you're right, mate, and it's all about winning on Saturday and building momentum, JM.
Yeah, I think that's the saying. You would say the Rangers team's arrived tonight, but a Rangers team now dust themselves down and they go and have to go and win the non-glamorous up at Dingwall, don't they? That's the difference. It'll be interesting to see how many changes we make, how many people get rested, and this is what Bill was saying about it being a squad game, isn't it? But that good result don't matter if we don't win on Saturday.
No, No, we've got a few days now, and it's hard to say what you would do because it's a league match. It's not a League Cup tie against Morton. We need the 3 points. You know, obviously you'd like a good performance, but ultimately, where it sits in the signage, you just want to go there and win the game, GB.
Aye, Ox, you want to obviously try and keep the partnerships building. I mean, there seems to be I felt the forward line had a good understanding tonight. I did like Cantwell being pushed forward. As much as when Lammers came on, he looked pretty decent as well. But I do like Cantwell playing more in that position. So again, I would ask the manager not to rock the boat too much. Just make small changes, like say maybe Jack getting rested, stuff like that. Maybe a wee defender getting rested. But apart from that, I would try and keep the momentum going and the understanding going with the team, Hawks.
I think Bob Chair's with us. Evening, Bob Chair.
Hi, good evening, folks. How you doing?
All right, mate. What's your thoughts, Bob?
All right. I thought that. Let me hack back to you last night just for a second. All the many times I've been on the show, I never experienced such an air of despondency as last night. But I think that a few of them were proved wrong tonight. I thought Rangers played well against a class act, against a class opponent, and it's as you were 2 weeks, just like last year. And who's to say we can't go out there and win again? So well played, Rangers. Everybody to a man, I thought did all right tonight. Everybody did okay.
Listen, that was a good
we're still in the
performance.
tight.
A team performance, Bob. Yeah, a real team
It was a good team performance. What a goal with Seaman. I'm pleased for the boy. The boy was starting to take it in the neck for a few people, but he proved them all wrong tonight. He played well. He ran his fair out, took his goal exceptionally well. And the only way they were going to beat Big Butland was, well, he had no chance for the first goal, and it hit De Jong on the shoulder, for the second one. They were a good side, but they weren't great. If we make it into the Champions League, we'll play better. We know that. But I would say I was proud of the Rangers tonight. They did well.
Must admit, I mean, obviously, you can pick holes in goals, etc. But it was a lovely wee dummy for the boy Jai in for their equaliser, the first one.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely,
cheeky, wasn't it? It was cheeky. It wasn't one of them. It looked silly in hindsight. Maybe if you look at it, slow down goals in front of them, maybe Raskin looks over keen, but that's a class act who's doing that in that pressure, isn't it? You can't really say much about that. That's a class act who's letting that run for his mate to put it in the net.
Simple. Bob, Jer, who was your man of the match?
My man of the match. Oh, you can pick out through the money, but I thought Connor Golson had an excellent game. I did. I thought he did a really good game.
I don't disagree.
And what's the general consensus of the man of the match?
Golson on here, mate. Golson. Robert?
Aye, Golson certainly a standout. I'd obviously mentioned at the start of the show that for me, Tav got dragged in quite a wee bit tonight. Again, JM's picked up that it was maybe the midfield not tracking runners, which has forced Tavernier out a wee bit. But Connor Golson to have that performance to cover his own area as centre back and then come out wide as well, it was certainly demanding that kind of back line to be assured. He had no chance of the goals, and I'm sure a lot of people, as you said, Bob Gia, have maybe looked at that tonight and went, that's the Connor Golson that we know can defend and play. And there's certainly, if he does that throughout the season, by all means, he'll certainly be a fan's favourite again. We know what he's capable of. We know that he's a well-dressed centre-half. He has had his moments, but he'll certainly get a lot of plaudits tonight. And certainly on here, we've given him the man of the match, clean sweep for ourselves. So certainly an impressive performance from Golson in particular.
Solid on the ground, solid in the air. Solid. The long balls that he knocks are different. They're back to the ones that we know he used to knock out to Ryan Kent all the time. And you say, he's back to the corner. Well, let's hope he's back to the Connor Golson that we all know. And well done, Robbie Matondo. You took your goal excellently, son. You maybe saved the club a lot of money on signing a winger. We've been talking about how narrow we've been playing and needing a winger. We'll maybe find a wee answer in Robbie Matondo. So, yeah, we're still in the Champions League, big time. We've done it last year. We can go. We can do it again, guys.
The Facebook poll was now get Todd Cantwell man of the match. So Mrs. Cantwell must be hitting the button on Facebook. GB.
What I say is, Ox, I think Canwell's probably getting it because of how much running about he does. You mean, and he's shown that passion. He just loves. I mean, he loves playing for the club. Ox, you can tell that. You mean, and like I say, it is hard to kind of want a player like that to kind of tone it down. But what he will find is he'll come unstuck at one point when we really need him on the park, and like I says, he just needs to watch. But overall, I mean, see some of his play tonight, Ox, like the way he was winning the ball back and he's passing, and like I says, that for that second goal and stuff, this division to keep, and he was even running forward as well. You mean, in it, so he was trying to keep the move going himself. So he's just a very important player for us, Ox, and he's one of the guys that you can count on that will turn up and give you a performance. I mean, I don't think I've seen Todd Cantwell give a bad performance yet.
He's got the X factor, Cantwell. He just makes things happen. He's enthusiastic. The support like him. He likes the support, Bob. Yeah.
What was that? Can you repeat that, Ox, please?
Cantwell, he's got that X factor. The support like him. He likes the support. He makes things happen.
Aye. Todd Cantwell really at home. Like, I mean, it's been an excellent signing for us. His work rate is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was like that. And I think the reason they took him off was because he got booked. And that French referee, that's him that gave us the VAR penalty in Dortmund, by the way. And I think they thought, well, I better get Cantwell out there because he was getting involved a wee bit. And we'll not want him sent off. We'll want him fit and fresh for the game next Tuesday. Fit and fresh for the game at Dingwall on Saturday. So, Todd Cantwell, great signing. Work rate, unbelievable. He's going to be a Rangers legend. There you go.
The support like him. Talking about the support, JM, I thought they'd done their job tonight.
Yeah, they were excellent again, as we come to expect, don't we? And also, I don't know if you listened to Golson right away. The players have respect. It's not easy when you're watching the other team have so much of the ball as well. Although they didn't create too many clear-cut chances. You know, it's always heart and mouth stuff, isn't it, when you're getting the ball out wide. But no, the fans are great from the start to finish, weren't they? And also got what they deserved at the end. A good 5-10 minute spell of us pushing for the winner, which is always nice.
Robert?
Yeah, mate, certainly the crowd played that part. You could hear it as well. As soon as the teams come out of the tunnel, you could hear the crowd, the excitement, the buzz. When the Champions League music was played, the noise off of that. And then even when PSV got their equaliser, the crowd urged the team forward, urged them on to keep the spirits high and keep the hit up. Certainly played more than their part tonight. We've always said that European nights at Ibrox, it's just different. I think maybe a young Yanis Hadji might have said something like that as well. So it's certainly an experience that the new players got to experience firsthand tonight. You could just see the likes of Raskin, Butland, when the camera was panning on them, when the anthem was getting played. Just the look in their eye, like, this is the real deal. This is why I'm at Rangers, to play in these competitions. And they've certainly gave themselves a great chance next week to progress even further and have more nights like
that. Big Butland does a lot of good things, GB, yeah?
Aye, brilliant, Ox. Like I says, I was nervous for him coming in the door. Big shoes to fill and stuff like that. But to be honest, even for the start of the season, I think we've said it on the show plenty of times, the goals that have been conceded have been nothing today with Butland. You know what I mean? Butland's always put in a decent performance. He's been unlucky with the penalties it's been getting against the team and that. And again, the night he's in right in amongst a Champions League game and looking commanding in his box, coming out for crosses, and again organising his defence. He's no scared to tell players in front of him what he wants done, and that's his distribution for me, Ox. That's a big thing as well for a goalkeeper, being able to pass the ball out or being able to actually punt it to a player. It's night and day. No him to Alan McGregor, but Alan loved to blutter the ball out the park half the time when he was kicking the ball out. So, aye, onwards and upwards with Jack Butland.
He gets some distance on the goal kicks as well, to be fair.
Aye, mate. Aye, no, that's what I'm saying. He's got that quality that you can tell he's been taught that. You mean he's been taught how to actually play proper football.
Aye. I suppose that the positives will go right through the team tonight. You know, people might think individuals weren't maybe quite at it, JM, but ultimately it was a good team performance and the best of the season so far.
Yeah, you've got to take pride in that. I mean, you've competed with a really, really good team that sort of ran away with all their matches, scoring goals for fun. But positives are the factors that we've shown. We've scored 2 goals, maybe with a bit more of luck, 1 or 2 more, not, dead cert chances, but good opportunities to create goals. And apart from the goals themselves, they didn't actually have too many sitters. They created chances to make chances, huffed and puffed. But it's definitely a 50-50 game going into next week.
Obviously, we can take our chances because we'll get them, mate. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get chances, whether it's through them on the ball or, the pace on the break. We're sure we can get round the back of them. We're definitely going to get chances over there. If they can stick, if they stick together like they did today, we'll come away with a result there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I hope he's right, Robert.
Absolutely, mate. And something that might not be too much to read into, but they took off their 2 centre-backs tonight and they made a point in the commentary that they were running out of defenders. So I'm not sure how fit their defenders are going to be next week. So if that is an issue for them, it's certainly something that we should try and exploit, especially with the pace of Matondo, who I think could push for a start. It wouldn't surprise me to see him start at the weekend to try and maybe give him an hour just to see what he can do and get preparation for Wednesday. And the likes of maybe Sima again. I know the kind of jury's still on him, but he took his goal well tonight. He grew into it in the second half. So it's certainly a lot of optimism going forward that we can look into for next week. I certainly think we'll get chances, but it's just taking them. It's those fine margins, Ox.
Yeah. We've now got 3 big games coming. 2 away from home and 1 at Ibrox. Big games, Bob Gerrard.
Oh, aye. This is the season starting to catch fire now, Hawks. And, well, we're a big club. We're in big competitions, so I'll just have to be patient and we'll do our best. We've been there before, we'll be there again. And I'm optimistic that the Zers can do all right this year. I just didn't like that air of despondency last night. I didn't think a lot of us did. But that's football for you. 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. Well, we're up tonight. We've done well. We've got a 2-each draw. We're a really good side. It's easy peasy, as they say up Mali. Let's go for it next year. Let's go for it on Saturday. We've got a hard game at Dingwall on Saturday. Take each fixture as it comes and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Game at a time, GB.
That's it. The managers said that constantly, Ox. Just take it a game at a time. Give the players time to keep gelling, keep getting the partnerships together. And he says that you will start to see progress. And I think the night we started to see a team come together tonight, work hard for each other. And like I says, make the right choices on the pitch as well, Ox. That was another great thing tonight. The decision making between them all was really good. Dessers, especially for that second goal, didn't panic, made sure he was making the right pass. And then Rabi gets onto the ball. Again, doesn't panic, doesn't try and hit it to the keeper, displaces it correctly. And again, that puts us in the lead. Maybe that for next week, Ox.
All right, we've been joined quickly at the end by Mitchell. Evening, Mitchell.
Hi there, how are we going, lads? All right.
All right, mate, just quickly what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think it was a really positive game. I think there's a lot more positives to take the negatives out of the game. I feel like maybe defensively, there's a few jitters in there. I think it still needs a lot of surgery in that part of the defence. It needs some money spent on it. Connor Goldson was part of Steven Gerrard's first signing, so I think it needs evolution more than anything. But I thought Rangers played really well. Played with a lot of width, expanded, took the game to PSV a lot of the time, and they weathered a lot of the storms. But to go in the league twice and to not come away with the first half win, if you like, of the 2 legs is very disappointing. But maybe if they can, start defending crosses and corners, then we've got a really good chance going over to Amsterdam like we did last time. So I thought the subs as well, just really quickly, were really good. Lundstrom and Rabi Matondo added a different element. I thought a bit more bite in midfield and a lot more pace down the side. So, if we can keep pushing like that, I'm more than hopeful that we can make Champions League.
Cheers, Mitchell. Listen, mate, we're
Thank
going to
you.
wrap the show up. It's always good to hear from you. And phone in, we'll get more time because we'd love to hear from you, mate.
Yeah, that's great. I hope you're keeping well anyway, mate.
Yeah, mate. Good to hear from you, mate. Yeah.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Cheers,
Have a
mate.
great
Speak
night.
to you soon, mate.
Bye.
Cheers to you soon. Last word to your good self, Bob, yeah?
Well, I would say a good night for the club with the new squad. That's the biggest test it's had yet, and it's came through it. And it's gave itself a very, very good chance of progressing into the Champions League. That's what we do, for the money and the prestige and what have you. And I'm happy with it. Onwards and upwards, as they say. So we'll start again. We'll get it all again on Saturday. So good night, everybody.
Cheers, Bob. Yeah, Robert.
Yeah, mate. Great night for the club. We've got a result which we can take away to Eindhoven next week. We're still in the tie. A lot of positives we can take from it. Keep the momentum going over the weekend and get ready for a big test again next Wednesday. But I'm certainly capable and hopeful that we can do it. Thanks for having me again tonight, mate. It's been good to be on with yourself, GB and JM.
Cheers, mate. JM.
Yep, cheers to tonight. It was good. Just hopefully this could be a stepping stone now for this new group of players. I think that's a great result. I think that's a team that everyone looks at and we can be proud of, but it means nothing if they can't use it as momentum. So let's hope they all use it as momentum and they keep going. But great result tonight.
GB.
Great show, Ox. Good to hear all the Bears happy tonight. And as Big Mal says, keep believing.
Keep believing. Keep believing. Listen, thanks to Stuart, thanks to Ian, thanks to Bobja, thanks to Mitchell. Great to hear from Mitchell. Haven't heard from him for a while. Top man he is. Thanks to Robert, JM and GB for doing the show. Fox and Old School Boy for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. Remember, you're still the people. Take it away, Old School Boy.